American Airlines DC plane crash. First officer had trained in Florida. Thanks for joining Atlanta Direct News. Take a look.
A grim scene from our nation's capital today. Another live look at the recovery operation in the Potomac River in Washington, D.C. This was the moment that a U.S. Army helicopter hit a passenger jet coming in for a landing at Reagan National Airport last night. Good afternoon. I'm Greg Warmoth.
And I'm Darlene Jones. Certainly a somber day here and across the country. We just learned here on Eyewitness News moments ago, one of the pilots involved in this spent part of his training right here in Central Florida. We'll have more on those details in just a moment. But first, here is the very latest from the crash scene. There were, unfortunately, no survivors, and so far, dive teams have found at least 40 bodies. Sources close to the investigation say the other bodies and human remains will have to be extricated from the wreckage once it's lifted to the surface of the river. And in just the last hour, we learned from the National Transportation Safety Board, the agency leading this investigation, saying they have not recovered the flight data recorders just yet. And they aren't ready to release any information regarding that, but we'll have a preliminary report within the next 30 days. Reporter Christian Cordero is at the scene of the deadliest commercial plane crash in the United States history in more than 15 years.
Today, in frigid water and with planes flying overhead, officials in the nation's capital are searching for answers.
We will look at all the humans that were involved in this accident. Again, we will look at the aircraft, we will look at the helicopter, we will look at the environment in which they were operating in.
This video shows the helicopter crashing into the passenger jet around 8:45 last night. Another angle in this EarthCam video. Everyone on board American Airlines Flight 5342 and the Army Black Hawk helicopter are presumed dead. The American jet from Wichita, Kansas, cleared for landing after a last-minute but routine runway change. The Army helicopter on its usual path for standard night training. Audio from air traffic control reveals the military pilot acknowledged he saw the jet approaching the runway. Among the questions, why didn't the helicopter change course?
The helicopter said, we see it and we accept visual separation, meaning that the Black Hawk crew says we will stay away from that helicopter.
President Trump today seeming to agree.
The helicopter obviously was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
He then speculated, without providing evidence, the crash was a result of his predecessor's diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, initiatives involving air traffic controllers.
Are you saying this crash was somehow caused and the result of diversity hiring? And what evidence have you seen to support these claims?
It just could have been. We have a high standard. These are various very powerful tests that we put to use, and they were terminated by Biden. And Biden went by a standard that's the exact opposite. So we don't know.
And again, it seems that almost all of the major stories that happen have a local tie, and Martha Sagalski joins us right now, and this one very local in terms of the pilot who was at the controls last night.
Yeah, Greg, I was just happened to be scrolling through my Facebook page while I was getting ready in makeup for the 5 o'clock newscast with you, and my friend Skeeta Moreno, who is a pilot, I saw that she posted something about Sam Lilly, the first officer on that American Airlines flight that crashed into that helicopter yesterday, and she trained with him in Daytona Beach. I looked at the call letter. She wrote down, being able to work with you back at the KDAB, which is the Daytona Beach Airport. She said that you were the guy that always came in every day saying something funny, and I still can't believe it's real, how much we're going to miss you. And, you know, she said when she trained with him back in 2021 and 2022, he was the guy that made all of them laugh. Obviously, being a pilot, you're in different parts of the country, in different time zones even, but they still maintain contact with one another to see what they were doing in their lives. And, you know, this one, she says, just hurts so hard. They trained together quickly. It wasn't like an Embry-Riddle program where it takes years to do. It was out of Daytona Beach, an airline transport pilot program, which what he was involved in. And his dad was also a Army pilot, 20-year veteran of the military. He was a pilot as well. Sam engaged to be married this fall. Had his whole life in front of him, and just a very happy guy, she said, and made everyone laugh, but got his start here in Daytona Beach, and that's what the information that we are learning tragically today, a connection to Florida, what happened in D.C. last night. the pilot of that American Airlines plane, began his career in Daytona Beach.
Yeah, and I know that Daryl Matthews is going to have that interview one-on-one to get a little bit more perspective, some more pictures. And again, it's just one of those stories that is hitting so many different people and so many lives, not to mention people who didn't know any of these folks. Makes you uneasy sometimes when you start to think about what could happen on a plane and how quickly your life can end.
And as a mother of a son who is a pilot who flies these regional jets, it hurts. I was looking at the picture of Sam Lilly, and he's there sitting there holding his flight certificate when he became a pilot. I remember when my Maxwell did that, and he flies these planes, so it certainly hits close to home for me having a son who is in the air. But again, these regional jets are where these guys get their hours to move up to those commercial jets. So certainly he was just getting started, just getting his career going, and his personal life, he was set to be married this fall.
Yeah, it is a shame. No distinction on who may or may not have been to blame, but it does appear from the early indications that the PJ, that little small passenger jet, was probably doing what it was supposed to be doing at the time
As
of
we
the crash.
learned that these planes, they are on, and especially in this particular area that they were flying to in D.C., it is precise. You need a pin to actually be in that airspace. As a pilot, you don't veer off. Those planes stay right on track. So it'll be interesting to see the NTSB obviously on scene getting some answers. But again, this plane most likely was doing what it was supposed to be doing.
Yeah, PRJ's personal regional jet. Something to that effect is what we're learning about. Yep. Thank you, Martha.
Thank you, Martha. We'll have much more coming up on Eyewitness News at 5.